hopefully the logic board, the memory board right inside is still going to be fine. Because if it is, then we can bring this back to life.
I always feel myself kind of torn in these situations because I've got this on my Twitter profile. Yeah, I'm kind of part tech junkie because I've always been kind of drawn to new interesting things that are happening in technology, and I blame my dad for that because he was really into computers. So we had like the Apple IIe back in the day, and then sort of growing up from there, and cause he was a primary school principal, so he put a lot of technology into schools, which there's great parts of technology, and I mean look at us right here right now. We're we're live streaming a broadcast across multiple channels, and we can we can chat to people. Blake's saying, what's he saying? I actually sent Daryl an angry email because they started individually wrapping their choc licorice logs. How much packaging do you need? Yeah. I mean, this is exactly right. There's, one thing I think it's kind of good at my daughter's school. They have a setup there where I don't know. This might be universal, but everything you put in the lunchbox has to just go in there without any wrapping. So you have to have like containers and stuff like that. Yes. So on the one side, technology, lets you do great things, and but then on the other side, I'm guilty too. Like I probably don't see out a full term on a mobile phone contract, because I like to have something new, and the iPhone 11 or whatever we're up to now has some great cameras, and I'm interested in filmmaking. So that's great. But then I literally, I believe. Oh, where are they? I don't know, because my daughter's been on my case. Well, there's one. So there's one unused older phone, and I know I've got a couple in the drawer that have got broken screens because my daughter wants me to convert one into like a little gaming sort of thing, and I just don't know. I haven't taken the time to read up about how I can strip away any of the ways that it could possibly be used to connect to the outside world, because she's only 9 and I don't really want to communicate into the internet. And she doesn't get that. She just thinks that I'm lazy, and why don't you do it? And I'm just anyway. So the repair. So you're saying it's about $100 to repair the average phone. Is that right?
Well, look, that's across a whole spectrum of things. So I just thought I'd show you. I'm still using an iPhone 5C.
Right.
And,
that might be the one I was just holding.
It's working just fine for me. And a lot of people laugh at me because I am now working on mobile technology, and they're like, why don't you upgrade? I said, well, it still serves me just fine. It does what I need to do. But on the point of the average cost of repairing a phone. So here's some that have been donated for the Reconnect project. This one absolutely didn't need anything done to it at all. It's an iPhone 6, and my technicians wiped it and tested it all, and it's perfectly fine, ready to go. This one, however, have a look at that one.
Yes.
You can see it's actually even bent.
Oh my goodness, yeah. It's seen better days, that's for sure.
It's literally been run over by a truck. It literally has. This is I think it's a Samsung S6. And so something like that, hopefully the logic board, the memory board right inside is still going to be fine. Because if it is, then we can bring this back to life.
Wow.
If we get donated phones that the logic board isn't okay, well, then we can harvest the other parts for it. And this is where the right to repair devices very much comes into play, and has been a big issue with Apple in the US, and there's been some lawsuits filed around them not allowing devices to have the iOS updates come through. And so it's essentially planned obsolescence, which is a term that's been around for a long time. But Apple was enforcing it, making it happen, so these devices, even though they still worked, would no longer be able to be updated, and that was it. And they also weren't making it available for individuals to be able to repair their own devices. And repairing a mobile phone isn't for the faint-hearted. It's very delicate. You have to be very delicate. You're using tiny tools and tiny screws that are like 1 and 2 millimeters in length. This is pretty microscopic stuff. But so yes, on average, $100 for us to get the parts. So we work with a wholesaler to obtain the spare parts, or we frankenphone.
Frankenphone.
That's my term.
That's a great one.
To get broken bits from a number of different phones and put them all together to build one working phone. So it really goes to show that people don't realize that they are still actually a viable working device. And I know that some people sign up for mobile phone contracts where at the end of it you'll own the phone, and then the contract rolls over and you just get given the new one. But I haven't done that. I purchased my iPhone 5C outright, and I'm still using it and going fine with it. But you will find that most people do have a couple of phones in a drawer or a box or stuff in the garage somewhere. I mean, I think the information from Mobile Muster, which is the national recycling scheme for mobile phones, estimated that there was 23 million unused phones a few years ago sitting around in Australia in drawers and cupboards and things. And that's 23 million phones.
23 million?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was their estimation based on the turnover of phone sales and number of phone sales in Australia. And that's a phenomenal amount. Yeah, that's just phones. So add tablets to it, iPads and Android tablets, and add laptops to it. And you start thinking, gosh, there's a phenomenal amount of resources out there that are actually still able to be used. And with just a little bit of love, can be fixed up and ready for someone to use. So
So I mean, I guess this is where that other side of me, which is the hippie side, because I was saying before, I'm kind of part tech junkie, part hippie. The other side is I was fortunate enough to grow up in the country in New South Wales in little towns, and then I lived at Bellingen, which is near Coffs Harbour, which is like one of the original hippie destinations, like where lots of the people went to. And so there's lots of people there who are obviously really into all sorts of things, sustainable living and what have you. And that's going back, I mean, show my age, but it's over 20 years ago, that I finished high school and went out adventuring around and left there. But I do, and I love the planet, I love the world, I love the people in the world, and that's part of why I'm interested in doing this. I want to meet more people like yourself and hopefully find other people, who are also interested in change and wanting to do something good. And I've been really just pleased that I have been able to find those people here and overseas, and even just the group that I jumped onto last night. I hadn't been part of that group. I joined, and then I posted, and then there was 10 or more different people who've all sort of jumped up. So that's really exciting, and I'm looking forward to spending a bit more time there. And what was the name of that group, by the way?
Social Enterprises.
Just Social Enterprises?
Social Enterprises the Facebook
Australia?
group.
Yeah. Because some people don't even know what a social enterprise is. In fact, my accountant, because I went and I said, okay, Flicks for Good, which is my kind of venture that I'm working on, this video streaming service. They didn't know what it was, and because I did explain to them, like, it kind of doesn't have its own official legal designation for whatever reason, but you can attach it to a not-for-profit or you can attach it to a for-profit. But essentially, for anybody who doesn't know what a social enterprise is, a social enterprise is basically a business, or some people call it profit for purpose. There's a business that has to at least give 50% of the money the profit that they make, not the money they make, 50% of the profit that they make to the causes that they believe in, and then they can do other, different different things. In the US, there's the B Corp. I think some companies in Australia, perhaps, they've got the B Corp certification.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's just a set of rules that you basically adhere to, and then they kind of monitor it and then give you a stamp of approval. And so then as more people get aware, it is good. I think Ben & Jerry's, they're probably one of the bigger ones. Patagonia, they're a B Corp. Australia has Thank You Water. They're probably the most famous one here.
And who gives a crap?
Who gives a crap? Yeah, see, I love it. Often people, I think, have a good sense of humor.